Hi everybody, and welcome to this video, this interview, which I'm really happy and excited to do, excited to share. I'm interviewing the gorgeous, the one and only Joey Morris about her book, Songs of Shades, which came out a little while ago, and I did mean to do this a while ago, but life. So, and also I think it's the right time as we go towards Samhain. This book feels so autumnal and so prepping my mind for the darker part of the year. So I think it's the right time to dig in with Joey, find out her inspirations and all about how this book came together. So hello there, Joey.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, always a pleasure, always a pleasure. And I love the wig. The wig is
Thank you.
It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Amazing. Yes.
Well, it's a little bit somewhere between Morticia and I don't know. Morticia and me, I guess.
Yeah, I like it. Morticia, you and some kind of pop star along the way.
Like a Japanese pop star. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. This is it. Yeah, it's a good. I do admire your wigs. I'm really just boring. I have red hair. I never change it, but you've got the most epic amounts of wigs.
Yeah, I've been playing with them this year because I basically got called out for being too feminine. So I was like, you know what? We'll get more feminine. We'll have wigs. They'll be pink. They'll be blue. So yeah, I've been playing with them this year. It's been fun.
Too feminine.
Yeah.
No one's tried that one on me. It's pretty, yeah. It'd be ridiculous. I'm ridiculously girly. But getting wiggy with it, that would be good, I think.
It's good fun because you can like just play with it, mess with it, and see if something suits you, and you don't have to dye your
damage
hair.
Your hair. Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. So, this is your first book that you've published, and it's a collection of your poems and ritual songs and chants, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I think there's not many things out there like this, are there? There's not many anthologies of collections of not only poems but also ones you can, and you've given people examples how to work within ritual. I mean, of course you can do it with any poem if you wanted to, but these are particularly focused ones, aren't they, for personal practice and ceremony. Is this, I mean, I know that a lot of them are channeled, but was the whole idea channeled? Did you get the whole idea come through of what you were going to do?
Well, I've been channeling the poetry for a while. So the overarching poetry is probably between 1 and 2, maybe 3 years of channeling from different deities, and mainly the Morrigan, but different deities as well. And so I already had a collection of channeled works, and some were available like in spoken word on the YouTube channel, some were available on the blog, and I was just looking at it and I was like, maybe this needs to be a collection, maybe this needs to kind of interweave and connect all of these things and talk about how we connect with that, how we bring that into a ritual space again, because they kind of came from a ritual space for me. So it was kind of like returning them to that space for everyone else. So that's kind of the idea. So, but the book came together really quickly, but the poetry took a lot longer.
Yeah, this is a real deep collection. I know that you've been putting them up on your YouTube channel when you're doing your spell work and your spoken word, and it seems to be a really huge important part of how you work. It seems to like when you weave it in with the spell stuff you make and the candles and the salts, is this something that kind of you all bring together as one when you're creating stuff, that the words come through as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a Morriganic thing, and I love the I've forgotten which exact it's from, but it's I am a poetress.
Yes.
Truth. And I loved that line about her, and it feels like a gift from her and connecting with her when working. And I've always loved words and stories and poetry. I've always loved them. And it's definitely a large part of my spiritual practice. I'm very much a voice witch, and it kind of goes from voice into a manifestation process. And so with products and with books and things as well, products to me, because they are to be used in a sacred space, they should have a soul, they should have a story, they should have a purpose and a meaning and a vibration. They shouldn't just, it's not just like a candle that you buy at the, at Asda or something, and it's, batch made. That's not the idea. It's supposed to speak to you. And so there's usually a story woven into each and every product. I'd say usually, there always is. And often there's like a manifestation process that happens where I'll get an image or a feeling or a vibration. And often I'm kind of channeling and speaking it and then seeing it at the same time. So, for example, for Temple of Witches, which is one of the most popular smudgers, I was listening to Meg Myers' Desire, that song. And then all of a sudden I like zoned out, and I was like seeing this like old world witch temple and talking about it to myself. I was like, pen, paper. And so I have pen and paper everywhere on hand, just in case that's happening. I have it in my handbag. I have it on every desk. So it's very Virgo, everywhere, pen and paper. But often it's more, you get a very strong feeling that it's coming. Or you've set the very specific intention to sit down and connect and see what happens. When it's goddess energy, I usually feel like a pressure, and I'm like, okay, pen and paper. So it's not usually quite so scatterbrained as the Temple of Witches, which just came at me, like blindsided me. But it's definitely a huge part of connecting to spirit and then creating the spoken word and the stories from there.
I think it's beautiful, and I think it's something that probably a lot of people would like to do, but they don't feel. Isn't it funny how everyone, you do a workshop that's creative, or they go, I can't write, and the minute someone gets into that space of connecting with themselves, it all comes out. Like, it's something I think we all have in different ways, at least a gift to express ourselves or to express something. And I think it's such a sacred art that's mostly forgotten because society goes, no, you can't, no, don't write that, don't do that. And when people allow themselves to feel how they feel, or to connect with a tree, or things come out, and it's just, and not always, it doesn't have to be amazing stuff that you're going to think, I'll tell everybody this, but it's something that could be really soul soothing for that person, can't it?
I think we also have expectations of what it's supposed to look like and sound like. I have a very specific style, and I can't kind of flow outside of that specific style. But I know other people have very specific styles that work really, really well for them, whether it's spoken or written or whatever it is. And it doesn't have, like, I'm quite wordy, and I have like quite a lot of descriptors in what I do, and mine tend to have this kind of flow river thing that happens through them, right? But some people are like, no, and they go like sharp word, da, 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 sharp word, and that works for them. And the problem is that we think that there is one way of doing this. Even within like spirituality, it's like, oh, it has to be kind of flowy, and it has to be like, I don't know, there's this expectation of what it's supposed to look like. And it's better to like really connect to who you are and channel that from a place of heart and soul, and be like, no, this is who I am, and this is my word, and then boom, and then that is really powerful, and other people will see that as well, because it's true to who you are.
And you can really, I do it as well, you can really tell when someone's just trying, it isn't, you're like, I'm going to write something now, and you're really trying, and it's just like, no, and you have to just let that go somehow, don't you? I think that's what's lovely about your songs. They are songs and chants and poems. They do feel ritual, they do feel flowing from a really, you can feel, you can't feel the place you were, but you can see a place when you read them, and that's why I love it. You're there, you're in this place, and it's very much you saying it, but it's in a way that speaks that part in all of us as well. So I think it's just really, really lovely. And I think you're right, finding your own voice is a really, really important thing, and getting rid of the criticizing brain, which will stop us doing anything, won't it? Absolutely anything.
I didn't think I could do I had that with the book. I was like, nobody's going to care, nobody's going to buy it, why would you even I had that negative little head voice in there, and I was like, you know what, no. And we just did it. And I just kicked myself in the teeth one day, and I put it all together, and we put the book together in a couple of weeks. And obviously the rituals were all new, pretty much. But the poetry was mostly connected. The fox one was new, because I was reading through it, and I was like, there is not enough fox energy in this book.
I was thinking there does need to be fox in there.
And so I sat and I channeled it. I was like, I'm not going anywhere till we've got foxes.
This book can happen till Fox is happy.
And the Persephone one was new actually as well, because
I love that one.
She got a bit uppity, and she was like, I want my word in this book.
I
was like, okay.
You got a bit of a queue lining up with that. How about me?
I do, and I've got like 6 or 7 others that have come since, so I've got I'm saving up for the next one, so I'm like, these will all be in the next one.
Oh, and everyone knows the second book's best. Let's go tell us all this. Oh, I bet. Yeah, I can imagine the queue of deities going. What's the strangest deity you've had coming through? Sorry, I think I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. Tiamat was quite bizarre. she is very, very primal in a way that is almost shapeless compared to other deities. So a lot of the other deities will come through and they have a visage, basically, of what we expect them to look like or what we expect them to kind of feel like. And she came through and it was just, it's really difficult to explain. And it was kind of like energy and swirling and deep water. And it was very primal, almost snake-like, but not quite. And I was like, okay. And then it's like trying to understand the words it feels a little more difficult than when you're usually channeling deity, even if you're really open to deity normally, and you get a little bit of a headache afterwards, maybe, or maybe you don't get anything at all and you just fine, you just hear the words. But with Tiamat, it was like oppressive. It was like trying to channel the words into the stupid human brain. And you're like, okay, hang on. Or the other one that was really strange actually was Valkyrie.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because the Valkyries, there were a lot of them and they all spoke at once.
As one or different things?
All over.
Wow.
So there's me trying to like get words down, and I had to get all the words down, and then I had to arrange them to make sense, because on the original piece of paper it was all over. Yeah. And I was like, what like this, and then afterwards I'm like, right, okay, does that go there? Yes, that feels right. Okay, good. And so that was really strange, but it was really powerful, and it was really eye-opening with Valkyrie as well. Yeah. Because I actually realized that there's crossover between Valkyrie poetry and Celtic poetry, and it was really interesting. Wait a second,
sorry, I'm going to pause a second. I think the cat's in trouble. 2 seconds.
Okay.
I shall be back with you. Everybody, sorry about this. Cobweb's being a right pain at the moment. 2 seconds. I'm going to pause. Sorry, everybody. Cat-related drama. Actually, there was no drama. Just the cat. Cobweb was having a bit of a tantrum. Yes. So all is fine. Anyway, sorry. Totally. It's what we were saying about the Valkyrie and bringing it all together.
Yeah, there was crossover, and there's actually poetry where the Vikings landed in Ireland and won a battle and stuff, and there's Valkyries in this poem and things, and I was like, this is surreal.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a connection between different peoples that quite often people consider to be completely and utterly separate, and they don't think about them like crossing paths and things. So that was really interesting for me too. And there was a very strong sense of that Valkyries had been made less over time, that they were like godlike in their own right in the beginning. And originally they determined who died. So they did prophetic death sequences, very much like Morrigan would do prophetic death.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
no other
so it was really interesting. So I was like, it was weird at the time, but it kind of like opened all these doors to all these insights, and I thought that was really interesting as well.
Yeah, well, it makes sense that the Valkyries would have been in Ireland, wouldn't they? Because there's so much invasions in Ireland as well from the Norse and everything. It does make sense it all crosses over, but you don't think it, do you? Yeah, it's something really.
I thought it was really fascinating, and it's just like people are like, oh no, it's separately. Like there is evidence right here. They've intermingled.
Yeah,
it's fascinating. I think it's great.
Absolutely. I do always feel like there's a link between kind of the Celtic and the Irish to the Norse, but not mingled. But now it's I kind of see that it feels nice. That feels nice. Lovely. But yeah, it does. That's really awesome. Cool. So that was a strange thing. And I mean, I know obviously you channel Morrigan a lot, and that is that the most, not effortless, but the most flowing connection you have with the words, with the poems.
I think so. I mean, and she basically permits me to connect to other deities as kind of like one of my, I guess, my gifts, if you like, or the things that she permits me to do. So I don't struggle with pretty much any deity that I connect to. Some are a little bit more complicated, and some are a little bit, they haven't really, it feels like they haven't fully got Morrigan's permission, Hades. But I think hers are often, it's a little bit more evocative, a little bit more like heartfelt, a little bit more present. Just because there's obviously that connection there to me that already exists. So it's often very personal as well with the Morrigan. A lot of what I channel from her is often indicative of where I am in life and what I need to hear or what I need to remember or things like that. Sometimes she'll do poetry and things which is general themed, but it's often more specific to me. And whereas you sometimes get that with other deities, it's not as personal in the same way, I don't think. It's still meaningful, it's still beautiful, it's still connective and spiritual and sacred, but it's just not Morrigan. So it's just slightly different. It doesn't feel like less than the Morrigan or anything like that. It's just that I think it just feels more personal when it's her with me.
You can. I mean, just reading them through, you can feel that flow that she just comes to you when you need. That's what it feels like in the different aspects. Is there an aspect of the Morrigan that you like connecting with the most when you're doing this work, or is it all?
I connect with Babe most out of all of them. The other two I have seen a little bit. I've connected to occasionally. She does come to me as her oneness, if you like, her Morrigan wholeness quite a lot. And that's probably the second one that I see the most. But I see Babe the most. And she'll come in various different forms and in various different guises, and sometimes she likes to play about with expectations. So sometimes she'll turn up and she's like full-on sex kitten maiden with white hair and red lips, and I'm like, what's going on? And then sometimes it's like decrepit and like decaying and like skeletal and full-on fear mode, and I'm like, okay, we're switching. Okay. But it's most frequently Babe, and she does this thing quite often where if she wants my attention, I will like get into meditation and I'll see a crow this far away from my face, and I'm like, whoa. Meditation, and basically you then stare into the eyes and then take on the eyes, and you become crow-eyed, and then the messages start from there. And that has been happening more and more frequently with like a shapeshifter kind of aspect to it.
Amazing. I love that. That sounds, and I love the shapeshifter poems as well, and I love that aspect of the Morrigan very much, and with the power animals as well, connecting with the shapeshifting element. And I like the shapeshifter's heart, that one. I like that one. I like all of them. I think I need to think of a favourite one before I start. I was like, I can't. They just work as one, don't they? That's the thing. They're not off. They're all unique pieces. They all work as one. So it's it's not going to find a piece. That's my favourite. And there are ones I really love. But
I don't know. I mean, I have certain ones that I remember as being my favourites. So
what's your favourites?
I love Warrior and Woad.
Yes, that's beautiful. Oh yeah,
from the Warrior one, and I love River Witch.
Yes,
and I love Dark Yet Holy Things.
And I like the Phoenix Healing as well. It's got a fire in it, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
but you felt like all of them.
I like all of them too, but then I put them out, so I better like them, otherwise I would.
Do you have ones where you like when I write stuff and then I go, I don't like it. Not that you don't like it anymore, it just feels weird afterwards. Like, you write a thing and you feel really happy with it, and then you come back and it goes. Or is that not the case when you're channeling it? Because I guess that's more if you're not channeling it. That could be more.
I get that with like old poetry or not, like old stories and stuff. Like from when you're a teenager and you're looking back and you're like, oh no.
When you're really glad that social media wasn't around then, you didn't share that with everybody.
But the channeled stuff,
it's different.
It's different, and some of the poems are, like I said, they're like 3 years maybe. Some of them are 3 years old, and so, and they still resonate with me just as much today as they did when I first channeled them. So the channeled stuff doesn't make me have any weird feelings, but like some of the stuff I've written in my days gone by, I look back and I'm like, we live and learn.
Bless you for writing that, little Laura, but but no, it's true. I think because Anna McKerrow, a writer friend of mine, she put a bit of my Morrigan, which was channeled years ago, 4 years ago, in a book, and I read it and I went, well, that sounds familiar. I was like, oh yeah, because it's mine, you idiot. Because the channel things seem so separate and so there, but it can feel like, and I hadn't read it for a while, and I went, oh, that's really yes, Laura, of course it is, you nitwits. But it's not, no cringing there, because you don't even remember you wrote it, so that's
it can feel a bit separate to normal writing. It
Yeah.
definitely can. There definitely is that, where am I in this versus where are they ending in this? And sometimes they'll play with words and I have to go check the words afterwards. I'm like, with my little Virgo, like, let me just check that the feeling that I got versus this word is what we want. And usually like 99% of the time it's it's spot on. They told me what to say, it's fine.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
But there definitely is a little bit of a separation and merging, I guess. I think
that. Sorry.
Go.
No, I was thinking about that because I was thinking about when you're writing songs, and I was thinking this before we spoke, that it comes in channeled and then me comes in and then it goes bloop, bloop, bloop. That's the special word for it, bloop, bloop. And I was thinking, I was wondering if I was insulting any deity or any being that came through me, but I was like, well, by kind of starting with what they've said and then me coming in, and I thought, well, it makes it, I guess it makes it, I don't know, either unique or it makes it something that's other than what a deity or fairy or whatever comes in and what I'm feeling, but this sort of sacred middle ground between the two, really. And some of them that comes through totally channeled that I've sort of got, it misses a bit of the heart because it's not got what I feel in it. So when I'm saying it, but then you bring you into it and it kind of has this strange and interesting middle ground. So,
yeah, I mean, I always think that if they trust you to be the vessel of the voice, then they can trust you to put it into your own words. So
fools. For me, not for you. I didn't mean that for you. I meant for me.
But it definitely, I think it becomes like that mesh between spirit and earth then, doesn't it? Because it becomes of both worlds at that point, which makes it stronger in my mind. Because rather than it just being a channeled spirit message, or rather than it being just us and our creative vibes, which is also, both things are great, but when they come together, it creates like a harmony between the two. And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it becomes more myth-like, doesn't it, then, I guess, like mythic in kind of energy, because we connect with it on a human level. And when you will read it to other people, you'll feel it as well as feel that the above. And I like it. I like you a lot. So, a lovely cover art by the lovely Molly as well. Molly Roberts.
She did beautiful cover art, and it was actually the first one she did. And she was like, "So I can do other things." I was like, "No, that's got a moth on it. I want it."
You got it, yeah. It's the colours are just so perfect, aren't they? For it, it's just really.
Yeah, we played with the colours a little bit until they were a little bit darker than they were originally. Because I definitely wanted it to be dark goddess energy, so we wanted that to be reflected with the light coming through, and so we played with it a little bit, and it was just gorgeous. And she did a great job.
Absolutely, really iconic, really beautiful, and the whole thing is designed really beautifully. So I love the moon in there as well, and all the little chapter pages.
Oh, the moon was such a pain.
Was it? The moon was a pain.
I had this idea, right, and I was like, right, I'm going to put the little moon in. And originally I was going to have it like upright like this, like the little Avalonic symbol almost. And every time I tried to do that, it would turn it, and it would turn it, and it would turn it. And I was like, every time I tried to change it to PDF, it would change it. And I was like, right,
surrender.
It doesn't want to be that way up. It wants to be this way. It can be this way as long as there is a moon.
Yeah, and it does look really nice. It does look really nice like that. Yeah, it's nice like this. I like it like this.
But I knew I definitely wanted to have like songs of the warriors and songs of the priestess and songs of the shapeshifters and things. I knew I definitely wanted to have that as well. I thought that was important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice. It gives it that more focus. So when did the idea of the book come about? Was that something that was channeled, or was it decision, or did someone tell you, you put them together into a book?
Combination of everything.
All of those things, yeah.
Because people have been asking for a while, are you going to write a book? Are you going to write a book? Are you going to write a book? And I was like, yes.
Good.
but I have so many ideas and like so many different things that I would like to write a book on, and it kind of, I get very stuck in my head sometimes, and then it doesn't get to be like the finished product and things. And I basically got a kick up the arse to do it. Mundane things, and I had Chris helping me and Molly helping me, and we sat and we talked about it, and I basically went away and did it.
Good.
I put it together in a book in about a week. And then Molly was doing the cover art for me in the meantime, because she knew what I was doing and she'd offered to do it for me.
Yeah.
So we then had to fight with the PDF, which is always fun because I don't usually use PDF, and I was like tech phobic of PDF, and I was like, it's not so hard as you think it is when you start, but it's still a bit when you're not used to it.
Yeah.
And then it just came into being quite quickly. I mean, the Morrigan has definitely been pushing, like, you are a voice, speak. You are a voice, speak. You are a voice, speak. Write. And I do sometimes just get messages, which is one word messages, which is write, and things like that. And I'm like,
now.
There's this big evocative relationship with the Morrigan. There's this beautiful poetry, and you're just telling me one word. Really? Yes. Right. Get on with it. Like, okay.
That's what I say about 5 times before I do something, and the right gets more fierce until you do it, isn't it? You're going, right. Mm-hmm. It's a great British way of telling everyone that in a few minutes we're going to do something. We go, right. And it's like, right. And then you're like, oh.
And then there's just like this stoic kind of like watching energy, like,
yeah.
Are you writing yet? If not, yes. Why not?
Why not? Why is it not happening? Oh no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I think you do need a kick though, because especially with creative stuff, when it's your own project as well, we just go, oh, I don't know, if we sometimes lack that confidence or something, or the fire to do it for ourselves. But and sometimes you need some, like, how do you say, accountability with your friends, or someone coming in to sort of, or some goddess go, right. I got told off by the fairies last night as well, because I was peeing around on Faceache and just looking at me like, and I was like, okay, look at me writing.
I think we worry about what other people will think as well. Like, that was the thing that worried me. It's like, are people going to get this in the way that I mean it? Because it's not really just a book of poetry to me. It's never just been a book of poetry to me, and it's meaningful to me. And I was like, are people going to get this? I'm worried that they're not, and people aren't going to get. But people did, and I think you have to get past that point of like trying to control that and just be like, this is me. Here I am. Here's my book.
Yeah, exactly. No one, exactly. We put quite perfectionist as well. Like, it has to be a certain way, but actually, it's never going to happen. So basically,
no.
I think it's what also, like you're saying, like, if you're being trusted with their words, you know you can do it. And it's like we have to definitely get out of our own way. So I think we are, you know.
Oh yeah, we get in our way so much. Yeah.
And making ridiculous little things we have to do, or ridiculous things that just are in that way, and it's just like, oh. But you've done it. Yay! It's all there. It's all done, and it's been selling really well, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah, we did really, really well. Like, I printed off 10, or no, I printed off 15 at first, thinking, that'll be enough.
You're so funny.
No. More people were interested than I anticipated, and we sold quite a few quite early on, and now it's steady.
Good. And how can people grab hold of one of these? It's on your website, isn't it?
Yes, it's at starryeyesupplies.com.
Yes.
Or you can message me and I will give you a direct link if you can't find it, because I know some people struggle sometimes with it. They're like, where is it? I can't find it. Help. So you can also like message me through the Facebook page or whatever, or even through the store, and I will just send you a link. It's not a problem.
Cool. Awesome. I know you've got a lot going on, but is there any more plans for any more writing and books and things coming, even if they're on the back burner?
Yeah, I definitely want to do a second one of these. And I was thinking that I might talk to Molly about using a very similar image, but maybe like a deep red.
Oh, nice.
I've got to talk to Molly about it and make sure she's okay with it and play with that a bit first. I'm also in the process of writing a Celtic witchcraft book, which Become a Living God are interested in.
Fabulous.
So, I'm writing those two. And then there is, the podcast and the store and everything.
All the things.
So it's kind of time management and whatnot at the minute. We're glowing really brightly. What is going on?
You are. You're like like in Lord of the Rings when they meet Galadriel and she's like lights. You're like that right now.
I don't know where that's coming from either, because I haven't got any of the backlights on purpose.
I feel very dark. I'm like, I'm not illuminated. I'm not illuminated. I'm going to get a torch in my own face, so I feel...
I feel like I'm in a Florence and the Machine song, like...
Yes, well, that's not a bad place to be. Yeah, like that, when the Machine song, that's how my videos are like.
Just like that, you've heard it.
That's how she gets all her songs sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's brilliant. And I know the shop's going from strength to strength as well. Like so many, the website's beautiful, and there's so many different sort of products, and I guess goddesses and gods and animals that want their products made for them.
Yeah, I do a lot of custom work, so we end up with a little bit of everything sometimes, and just open it up to people. Although, like, autumn has been amazing because I did just pure fox energy. Yes. And I was like, all the fox things, all of them.
All of the foxes. Yes, please. I love the foxes. I love the foxes so much. So would you mind reading one of yours for everybody?
Sure.
Anyone you want to read.
What should we just open it and see what we get?
Yeah, it's like, I like to use it like an oracle as well. Like, what do you need today? And then you open it at the right place. Okay,
we got a Babe one, which is interesting. Okay, so we got Babe, Guardian of Death, which is fitting, I guess, because it's a very death time of transitions and things. Okay. No, sorry. Memories in dirt-trod places, an ache of something soul-wired, screeching across field and foe, the rankling of oppressive chains, ripped and charred. Once a story learned by rote, no longer spoken but on the wind, only the memories we carry, claws in the darkness, teeth biting, burn it all to ash and starch the bones. Sing to them, sing for them, bleed into them. All those forgotten souls, honourable, wise, and less so. Death is not a quiet whisper. A story is not a silent thing confined to rotten tombs. It is alive in the tendons, in the bone of people, singing out from the vein, painted in every colour, every harmony, from wrathful rage to quietest hope. See once more with crow's sight, a world apart, growing, yearning, dying, as a guardian of death she's ever watchful, all-knowing, still growing, courting in the darkness, reminding, reclaiming. Remember who you are, not who you were in distant times, but battle-frenzied, blood-clotted, sweating, aching in the act of living and dying.
Oh, beautiful.
I may have to I'm going to have to grab the door. I'm really sorry.
I'm going to pause. It's good. So we've had cats complaining, phones going, doors buzzing, but we still keep going.
All the messages.
All the messages. All the shouting, all the buzzing, all the stuff going on. But that's still, even with the buzzer in the middle, it's still totally evocative and beautiful. And I love your voice when you're reading them out as well. It's just
we shift, shift into that space for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of, I was thinking about the voice as well, about it being it is the bridge, isn't it, between you and others, and like the words coming through, the bridge from them to us, and then we bridge out to others as well.
I think, there's something really beautiful about voice work to me. There's something about the reverberation, because we talk about energy a lot when we're doing magic work and how a ripple affects things around us. And I think that nowhere is that more true than, for me at least, than with the voice, that, these ripples of sounds that we have learned to create, we have learned to shape into words that other people understand. It's a crazy thing when you think about it, right? We have created language. It blows my mind when I sit and really think about it. Like, human beings started making noises, and then they started forming them into words to like identify things, and then they made language out of that. And different people have different languages in different countries and things, so they make different noises, and my mind blows up. And I think it's something really beautiful and really magical on every level. The way we connect, the way we speak, the way we can change somebody's whole day just by a few kind words, and how we describe things and what we put out there. I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely, it really is. And people always say like, "Oh, you're a witch, you do magic." And I was like, "But you do magic when you're speaking, when you're thinking things about people, and cursing them in your brain at the traffic lights, or kind of, it's funny, isn't it, that we're all capable of those things. And it's always interesting how the witch is something other, always seeing something other, rather than that magic is there in everybody. I know it's a totally different conversation, a totally different what we're doing at the time, but the voice, and how obviously like the Druids and the Celts didn't write it down, that the voice, it was incanted, wasn't it, like important to connect, and not to have tame it in words as such. We like books, we like writing, but but to be able to use your voice within magic, it's really important.
I just love the idea of song and poetry being magical and spiritual, and how it connects. There's something in me that has always been like, other people found this strange and things as me as a kid, but I would always like to go and like tell stories in the forest, and I always felt like the forest was listening to me telling stories to the forest. And like talking to trees and the spirits and the energies within the world. And I think there's something incredibly connective about that, because when you think about it, that's kind of like what the Druids and the Celts were doing, because they would speak all their magic, all of their wisdom, and it was oracular, and they didn't want to write it down. They felt that took away from it.
Yeah.
So, and while I'm not entirely in that space, because I love reading and books and things, I've realized that I do not tend to write spell work down. I tend to just do it as it comes to me, speak it into being, and if I need to remember parts of it in the future, I will. And if I don't, then I won't. But I'm very unlikely to write many of my spells down.
Me neither, actually. Yeah.
So that it's kind of followed me into that without me realizing it. But then I do like to record like this, like the words of the gods and things that I think people need to remember, because on the flip side of this beautiful, magical spoken word is that the way that we are now and the way that we've been for a long time is things get lost if they're not written down. And even sometimes when they are, they get lost. So it's trying to preserve something. I think
would say
forward.
Right.
Right. Word right.
But you've done that, and you've done something which people can take out and use in a verbal way as well. So that's lovely how they're meant. These are meant to be read and enjoyed, but also to be spoken. So that's really lovely.
And people have actually asked me if they have permission to do that. I'm like, yes, that's the idea. I don't mind you using them in ritual.
And you do say it, don't you, in it? But I can understand, because you feel like, oh, is this okay? I can, very polite people, but we're polite witches.
Some very British style witches, when they're asking if it's okay. Is it okay if I use this in my ritual? Yes.
My death scream, is that okay? We're so English. British is brilliant. I'm going to scream now. Is that okay? Anyone to be upset?
I'm just pre-warning you, just in case it disturbs you slightly.
Basically. It's lovely. I love it. I shall wrap this up now, saying thank you so much for talking to me about your book. It's utterly beautiful. It's really soulful, and I'm looking forward to reading more from you. It's the first of many awesome things.
I hope so. And thank you very much, and thank you for having me on.
Anytime.
As always. It's always lovely.
Absolutely. Even when all the world is trying to get in the way. Still all good. But do go and check out Joey's website, starryeyedsupplies.co.uk or .com. Which one is it?
.com.
Starryeyedsupplies.com. I'll put the link anyway down below the video, and you can check out all her beautiful magical goodies, as well as the book, and purchase your own copy. It's really lovely and a perfect for these autumnal evenings to kind of get into that dark goddess vibe. It's the perfect time for it, isn't it? That magical poetry time is here now. I'm so excited by it. With
a very English cup of tea, maybe. But yes, I'm super excited. We're in the best time of the year seasonally for me too. I love it.
I can't really write, well I can, but I can't write in the summer. It just doesn't really come, really. Spring, like in Milk and Pisces time and the water time, I can write. And then September's great and onwards. But in the summer, I was like, it's just, it's not the time, is it? Not the time.
No, I get grumpy in summer. So I'm like, I don't want to write. I'm too warm.
Especially this summer. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got about the weather and that'd be even more English of me, so I'm going to stop. Oh dear, it's terribly hot this summer, wasn't it?
It's too late, you've done it now.
Done it, I've got on. Tea, complaining, apologising, weather. What else can be? No, leave it. But thank you so much for doing this interview, and we'll talk again soon.
We will. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Bye, everybody.
Bye.